So gentlemen, here's what the speeds were. It was 166.18 down and 8.9 up.
166? You only pay for 100.
I know, right?
Hey, I'm Cody from Unqualified Gamers, a podcast member of the Gonna Geek Network, just like the one you're listening to right now. The opinions expressed are those of each individual. Check out other podcasts at GonnaGeekNetwork.com and get ready because geekiness begins in 3, 2, 1.
This is it. The part of your week where you get to put your headphones on, relax, and listen to a bunch of geeks geek out about geeky things. They're passionate.
I'm an IT guy. You should never delete. Most of the time you delete, you regret deleting.
They rage.
You guys are being like hypersensitive with your point to be offended. Oh, he deleted his Twitter account. Oh, I'm mad. What?
And sometimes they're even funny.
Tell your wife that I said hello again and sorry I couldn't be there tonight.
That's okay. Your wife says hi too.
Let me emphasize that. Sometimes. Welcome to the GonnaGeek.com podcast.
Hello and welcome to episode 124 of the GonnaGeek.com podcast. We are here live, as usual, Mondays at 5:45 p.m. Pacific. That's 8:45 p.m. Eastern at geeks.live. I am Stephen Chandru, and with me today is the whole crew, Stargate Pioneer.
Hey, I am not the French-Canadian sensation.
Chris Farrell.
What's with the Pacific time BS, man? Come on.
And the last person here, rounding it off. Wow. JS, what's up?
How are you, man?
I'm good. And you know what? I'm glad you asked me that question because I wanted to tell a little story here. I have to say that I want to first thank all of my homies here at the Gonna Geek podcast for being so incredible. So what happened was I got home from work a few hours ago and my wife says to me, hey, we're having Wi-Fi problems. So I go and I look and I'm like, oh, this isn't good. I reboot the router, reboot the modem, everything, still nothing going on. Hook directly up to the modem, nothing. That's right, my internet connection dropped. It was dead as JS.
DED.
I mean,
dead.
Never mind.
Oh, I'm just seeing the conversation on the Google Hangouts.
So what JS is reading right now is that in a panic, because apparently had been down for several hours, and I go to my provider's Twitter help page, and it's all sorts of problems, people reporting left, right, and center about these issues. So I go and I look, and yeah, guess what? Apparently it was a mass outing, and we just decided that we had come up with a way that we could have still gone tonight with me participating. Now, here's what we would have done. I would have been by telephone and then edited in my local track later. But the thing was, I had all of these amazing guys here willing to pick up the slack to make us go live tonight and route the proper routes. So I just want to say thank you guys for stepping up in my time of need.
I was going to have to wash my Skype rig that I use to call you because it's meant for royalty and actors and really high up people that are way better than any of us. So I was going to have to cleanse it from your voice afterwards. It was going to be a lot of extra work.
So, Steven, if you hadn't wasted your car's bandwidth on listening to high-def YouTube videos, you could have just podcasted from inside your car, man.
Okay, so you want to know what's up with my wasting of my car's bandwidth, which we talked about a few episodes ago? I was actually previewing the Gonna Geek and Better Podcasting podcast, but because I hadn't actually taken the time to transfer it to my phone, and I had just thought it was easier just to upload it directly to YouTube and just play it through the Wi-Fi there. That's where I burned it. That's right. It was listening to our very own podcast before I posted them.
Believe it. I know for a fact. I've seen your playlist. It's all Justin Bieber videos.
No, it was YouPorn, Pornhub, whatever the other porn sites are. It was
Katy Perry.
That's true.
Yeah, he loves some Katy Perry because she kissed a girl and she liked it.
Yes, she did. I'm really trying to think of the Roar lyrics right now, but I can't think of them. That was going to be such a good pull.
Plus, that's how you check your Ashley Madison account too, right?
We don't talk about. First rule of Ashley Madison is don't talk about Ashley Madison.
Everybody's talking about it, buddy. It's all public.
But
no one's talking about that anymore.
That's true. That's true. But seriously, though, thank you very,
Lasted
very
2
much.
weeks.
Thank you very much, guys, for willing to hold down the fort while I was through a crappy telephone, which luckily we didn't end up having to do.
So, Stephen, before we transition off of this, I have to ask, how are the acoustics in your car for listening to a podcast?
I'm listening for edit points, okay, for one. For two, it's a Pioneer sound system, so it's actually pretty decent. But mostly I'm listening for edit points. So I don't think I've ever talked about that on this podcast. Before I do post it, I always preview the whole thing once, which really drives me insane because, it's bad enough I have to hear you guys once, let alone 3 times when you throw in editing. But
no, you're not inaccurate. It would drive me nuts too if I had to listen to all of us multiple times.
But no, that is the habit that I have, and that's what I was doing was because I didn't want to hear crappy quality at 480 either, I decided to stream it at 720, even though it was purely for the audio.
and you could tell when he hears screw ups or whatever, because then there's another video that's uploaded a few hours later on the private part of the site. So you're like, I see Steven found something.
Yeah, that's so true. So true. Well, let's just go ahead and roll into our news. Should we do that?
Let's do it.
Okay. Roll.
This week in the news, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to turn it over to the guy that I usually leave for last, our resident rocket scientist, Stargate pioneer. What's up, SP? What do you got?
I actually have some rocket science stuff. So this came to my attention right after our podcast last week. So it should have been last week's news. Apologize for it, but I thought it was so great that we just have to talk about it. So basically on the 18th of November, the United States of America, Congress passed the Space Act of 2015 into law. Now, these are important documents because they dictate our international relations with countries like Russia, so we can have an agreement, so we can, lift our astronauts into space. But they look at the international treaties, like the Outer Space Treaty and the Moon Treaty and that sort of stuff. Well, to date, none of the treaties have specifically gone and looked at asteroid mining. But now guess what? This one has. So basically it's saying that we can go out and mine asteroids, and basically it's first come first serve, which is different than anything else because everything else has been it's for everyone. Well, now we're talking about mineral rights. So guess what? Somebody's getting protective.
You know what? If a government, whichever government does, sends a spacecraft into space by using funds from its population, whatever it obtains in space should be property of their population.
Space law, actually, it was in college. It was something that I took a few classes on. But more importantly, this year, if you saw The Martian, space law actually came into play during the course of the movie, and I won't spoil anything, but it's really funny how it comes up because it's just stupidly hilarious because of the intricacies of the Outer Space Treaty and the Moon Treaty and stuff like that. I won't spoil anything, but space law actually affected the story in The Martian.
Huh.
Much more in the book than in the movies, though, if I recall right.
Yeah, true.
I have not watched nor read The Martian.
That doesn't really surprise any of us, Stephen.
Second favorite movie of 2015 buddy.
I know, first being Star Wars, which you have not seen.
Did you know Magic Mike XXL is actually on the top 25 list of this year's best movie?
No way.
That just goes to show how bad this year was.
JS, but you know the reason why it's on there, right?
I'd have to double check.
The reason why it's on there is because of your cameo in the movie.
That's correct.
The ladies couldn't resist it.
That's correct.
Or Chris.
It's only The original version is I filmed it, but then they put that guy's face on my face. They 3D put my face on because he couldn't get my body. They couldn't get that sweet body, so they put his face on mine.
I mean, don't forget this guy down here. That's the French Canadian sensation right there.
That's right.
You can't beat that French Canadian sensation right there.
I show up to Parliament and people listen.
It's true. It's true.
I do. They open the doors for me, and I walk in. I call the Queen, and I say, "What's up?"
He's the unofficial Prime Minister of Canardia. That's what I've learned.
Yes, that's correct. That's correct.
So one of the funniest and most serious parts of reality television that I've ever seen was Keith, one of the captains on The Deadliest Catch. When the government was going to shut down, he actually went in front of a panel in Congress to testify, and they caught it on The Deadliest Catch. So it's serious business, but it was just kind of funny watching him testify in front of Congress. It's the people that they get to testify in front of the Congress down in the United States is hilarious. But if JS came, that would be a national TV thing. Everything would stop. It'd be a federal holiday, and everybody would have to turn on their TVs. Every single channel would be tuned in to see JS.
I'd have my own little fiat because if the Pope does it, I got to do it too. I'd have my fiat.
Well, you guys didn't know up here in Canada, we actually have a JS celebration date. It comes every December 25th.
That's correct. It was the day I was born.
It's JS-Miss.
Exactly. It is.
That's right. You don't put up a Christmas tree. You put a French Canadian tree up.
I just call mine the JS-Miss tree. That's what I call mine.
So it has maple syrup in it?
It does. And bacon. Lots of bacon. Bacon strips.
It's funny.
Bacon tinsel.
And up here in Canada, you know how down in the States, you guys smell your tree and you get this nice fir, this pine smell, right? No, our trees up here smell like JS. That's what they smell like.
Well, it's actually, to be quite honest, the real name of the country is not Canada, but there's a law that's instated that the people are not allowed to say it because, don't want to cause too much trouble. It really isn't called Canada. I won't say what it's called.
That's great. That's great. Speaking of laws, do you know what laws there are? Apparently there are laws against biting people, especially actors. Yeah, I don't know if you heard about this one.
No way.
Yeah.
There's laws against that? I thought that was just part of our duty as fans, is we have to take actual skin samples, like dermatology stuff, and get these people tested because they might be aliens. Yeah, I saw Men in Black, didn't you?
I did. And so that's what one dear fan of Norman Reedus decided to do today. That's right. Apparently, she decided that what would be great is down at, I believe it was Walker Stalker, I think.
Walker Stalker Con,
that she was going to go and take a big bite out of crime. And by crime, I mean Norman Reedus. So she actually bit him towards his chest. And yeah, apparently he decided against pressing charges for some reason. So not sure what that's about, but that happened.
He likes it. He likes the biting.
Okay, so I heard about the story and I was like, what are you thinking to take a bite out of Norman Reedus? I understand you love him. You think that he's great. You're willing to shelve the fact that he plays a character who hasn't washed their balls in 4 years. I get that. I totally get that. But it's just, you don't go bite Norman Reedus. That could have gone a very, very different way. I don't know. I guess then maybe he would have to show up to court and then she gets to see him. Okay, maybe it's not a bad idea.
You're just jealous you didn't do it.
I'm actually quite surprised that you actually think there's people who think in this world. I'm quite surprised.
Touche, JS. Touche.
I'm surprised. I mean, in the line of work that you do, I would think that you have every single type of colorful situation and person contact you daily. We must. I mean, I'm baffled at some of the people and how they can actually survive in this world. But I'm not surprised that people would do something.
JS, you live in Canada. If you would, 1 year, just out of curiosity, come down to the States for Black Friday, which really starts on Thanksgiving, so you'd have to take a 4-day weekend. You will see true stupid. Just go hang around a Walmart around the time it opens.
I've seen true stupidity. I mean, there's millions of videos on YouTube of people who, on top of being stupid, are clearly uneducated. Clearly uneducated.
By the way, Kent in the chat says, I thought that was just being kinky. So, yeah. Wow, someone make a GIF of that. That was amazing.
It's Jif, okay? Like the peanut
I'm
butter.
just imagining that JS is in the room with me.
And if you're not watching the YouTube video, you should go watch JS make a motorboat sort of action when it was in context about himself. That throws all sorts of crazy ideas in your mind.
He's very flexible, folks.
I'm just saying, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised about this. There's some people, they don't. And I'm sure maybe this is not the case with this person, but I'm sure that person thought it was okay.
Yeah, I guess she probably did. However, clearly not. So
headcanon accepted.
I actually, I don't really get the part though where Norman Reedus didn't place charges, like or drop the charges. Like,
you know how much crazy crap that man has to deal with. I mean, it might be on the extreme level, but he's like, hey, this person is just excited to see me and it increases my fandom. Yes, I got an extra 15 minutes of fame out of this and stuff like that. So, it goes off good with him. However, a lot of actors are dealing with aggressive paparazzi, and they want their own space and stuff like that. And so I get how there's this constant struggle between private and public.
Oh, I know what it is. Now he can go to some of the other fans and go, my chest is a little sore. Could you rub it for me? That's probably what he's doing.
I think I've got a third nipple now.
But if you would like to take a bite out of Norman Reedus, we encourage you to chime in. You can call us at 567-343-GEEK. That's 567-343-4335. Tweet us at GonnaGeek. Or when all else fails, go to gonnageek.com and find all of our contact information there. And please tell us why this makes sense and how much you want to do it. Or maybe there's someone else you want to take a bite out of. Could very well be.
We don't endorse any biting.
No, it's not. It's true, but we will at least play the voicemail on here. Maybe we can make things happen. Like maybe you want to take a bite out of Chris Farrell. He might be up for it.
Okay. $5.
$5. Wow.
The line starts right here, you folks.
You can get like hepatitis from a bite.
I don't imagine I'll actually see any of you guys to take me up on this offer, so I'm okay.
Wow, look at the chat explode. That's crazy. No, I'm just kidding.
Joke's on you. 30-second delay hadn't caught up yet.
I'm going to laugh if like next week you show up on like the podcast and you have like bandages and stuff. And you're like, somebody bit me in the street and I can't sue him because I said if he gave me $5 on the podcast last week. That'd be hilarious.
Or his girlfriend will be listening to the podcast and be like, oh, you're into that.
Maybe I am. What's it to you?
I just want to know so that we can embrace it. That's all.
Oh, well played.
Chris, what do you got going on for your news this week?
So some exciting news. We all know the biggest movie of the year, arguably, Star Wars The Force Awakens, comes out on December 18th. There was a lot of speculation as to just what movie trailer is going to get the featured billing of being attached to that. A lot of us thought Captain America Civil War, then they dropped the Civil War trailer last week. Then we thought Batman v Superman, that's going to be the big deal. That's what we're going to get with this. Yeah, no, not happening. So I'm proud to announce right here on GonnaGeek.com, the official trailer for Steven's Gonna Gleek podcast is before Star Wars Episode 7. I am so excited.
That's true. I spent a lot of money for it. You're going to see all sorts of great dancing, and the arc where SP and I move in together as roommates only to discover that we actually are former lovers that were brainwashed.
No.
Incredible.
Former brothers.
Oh, I'm sorry. Was that a typo?
Yeah.
That's a wishful typo.
I got a lot of practicing to redo.
So no, in all seriousness, the movie that is getting the featured billing of being the trailer that comes out with Star Wars Episode 7 is the new Star Trek Beyond. That will be the new trailer that debuts with Star Wars Episode 7. You might be asking, what the heck? Why are they doing Star Wars and Star Trek together? Well, here's probably why, folks. J.J. Abrams' production company Bad Robot is producing Star Trek Beyond, and J.J. directed Star Wars. So that's probably why it's happening.
Ah, genius. Genius.
I just think it's like audiences.
That too.
You know, it'll be interesting to see because I know, Chris, you are a huge Star Wars fan and a huge Star Trek fan, and you're somebody who was disappointed with the direction of Star Trek and Star Trek Into Darkness because it went towards the Star Wars side of things. It wasn't like Star Trek. So it'll be interesting to see now that JJ is off of that, whether or not they will continue down that route or whether or not it will be something that they do decide to go back towards the traditional Star Trek canon sort of thing. Not canon, but you know what I mean. Feel.
I'm curious to see where they go because they're finally on the 5-year mission with movie 3. It only took a little while.
I have reservations about this, not because it's not J.J. Abrams and not because they're on the 5th year mission or whatever. I have reservations because it's the 50th anniversary of Trek, and they're pulling this movie together really compressed schedule, and they've had issues with directors and writers and stuff like that. And I know that Paramount is trying to give it the treatment it deserves at the 50-year mark, but I just like Doctor Who with its big thing back a couple of years ago. It was phenomenal, and they had a lot leading up to it. They had a special episode specifically for it, which almost didn't happen. Granted, if you read the story behind the scenes of how that came together at the last minute, it's mind-boggling. They did what they did. It even was a theatrical release, and although it didn't smash any records, it did pretty well for something that was a TV episode that anybody could see for free if they had BBC America. So I'm wondering how exactly this is going to go on. I'm hoping it is not a flop. You know, it's very. I just wanted it to be treated well, so we'll see.
In the chat there, Kent has a very interesting point. He says, Abrams is uniting the fandoms. He is the Avatar. Now he must master the Doctor Who element.
Oh, somebody else is doing that.
Well, they're good. They're looking for a new showrunner eventually. Steamo can't do it forever.
It's going to be JS.
There's going to be a new. Did you guys not see the whole Doctor Who new director thing, Imajiggy?
No, tell us about that.
You guys are kidding, right? You haven't seen that? The
Nope,
Peter Jackson thing?
I don't watch Doctor Who.
Yeah. But he's just directing an episode or two, right? He's not coming as a showrunner. Yeah.
No, they're never going to change the showrunner. That's for a while, that's for sure. But Peter Jackson seems to be. It's not confirmed, or I don't know if it has been since, but he seems to be lining up to direct some episodes.
That's pretty neat. Pretty neat.
Yeah.
They've been talking about that over at Gallifrey Public Radio, another podcast on Doctor Who on the Gonna Geek Network, which can be found at GonnaGeekNetwork.com.
Well played. Well played. But I guess that is going to take us towards the end of the news. Do you guys got anything else to toss in here before we debut a brand new segment?
I got nothing.
Everybody just take a moment to take a smell. Smell that JS Christmas.
Smells
JS
like
Christmas.
axe.
Smells like bacon.
axe.
All right, let's move on. Alrighty, this has been in the works for a while being many years through many different endeavors. As you may know, or maybe you don't know, we do actually have a resident rocket scientist on here. We always call him that, but he is indeed a rocket scientist. Like, he literally studies rockets. That is the literal translation of rocket scientist.
That is very true. I have a degree in astronautical engineering and with a specialty in rocket propulsion, space buses, space navigation, and space law. So, yes, I'm an actual rocket scientist.
You like how I actually kind of use the word literal sort of in the real sense? Unlike...
Are you a scientist? Are you a scientist or an engineer? Because do you science things? Or
I do
just
not have a doctorate, nor do I have any desire to get a doctorate, but I have a couple of master's degrees.
So this segment here is something that SP has been trying to put together for a while. So he wants to enlighten all of us. So SP, let me turn it over to you to tell everybody what the name of your segment is and what it's going to be about. Go ahead.
Yeah, so we've been bantering this about for quite some time. I actually had a pilot podcast dealing with this subject matter, and for now, we'll just call it SP's Space Symposium segment, okay? That's a working title. We'll just go with it for now. And so every few weeks, when it comes my turn to have a segment, what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about something space. So first of all, I want to take a foyer through space telescopes. We talk about them all the time, and they have been phenomenal for the advancement of science, but let's get a little into what these telescopes are, what they do, and what their scientific discoveries have been, and where else to start but the Hubble Space Telescope. You got to start there. It is not the first space telescope out there, but it is the one that everybody automatically identifies with being a space telescope. Now, it was part of a series of telescopes back that was approved by Congress back in the 70s. There were supposed to be 4 great space observatories: the Hubble Space Telescope, the Compton Gamma Ray Observatory, the Chandra X-ray Observatory, and the Spitzer Space Telescope. All actually were made and flew in space, some of which their missions are done. We'll go through each of those as the series progresses, but for right now, we're going to talk about the Hubble, and let's talk a little bit about the history of space telescopes, right? So Edwin Hubble was an actual person, right? And he created the Hooker telescope, which was a 2.5 meter dish in 1918 in Pasadena, California, right?
Hooker.
So, what's that?
Hooker.
Hooker in Pasadena? Yeah. Hard to imagine, right? But unfortunately, with any terrestrial-based telescope, no matter how high you get it, no matter how in what area of the world that you get it, there's always going to be atmosphere that you have to observe through that's going to distort your observations. So in 1923, there was a famed rocket scientist, German Obrecht, who said, hey, we can actually put one of these in space and we don't have to deal with the atmospheric distortion anymore. So yay! So then in 1969, along comes astrophysicist Lehmann Spitzer, who then said, hey, let's go ahead and do this. So it took roughly 10 years. So 1977, Congress approved funding for the Space Telescope. And in 1981, NASA developed the control center on Earth in Maryland for the Space Telescope, called the Space Telescope Science Institute. And then in 1990, on April 24th, 1990, STS-31, the Space Shuttle Discovery, launched the Hubble Space Telescope. Now, just to get everybody a sense of how far back this was, guys, what were you doing in 1990? Where were you? Were you like in 3rd grade? Were you in high school? What were you doing?
I was 6 years old.
I was 4.
Jazz?
I was starting high school.
Okay, so I was in college at that point in time, so I'm definitely the elder statesman of the folks here, but that was big news back then to actually put this up there. It was designed to fit in the Space Shuttle cargo bay, and eventually it was supposed to come back down in the Space Shuttle, but that never happened because, well, the Space Shuttle's retired. So there you go. Now, it's had 5 servicing missions over the course of its lifetime. Matter of fact, the last one was in 2009. I believe that was either the last Space Shuttle mission or the second to last Space Shuttle mission. I can't remember which off the top of my head here.
But you skipped the part. You skipped the part where it actually didn't work when they put it into space.
I'm just not there yet, JS. Hold on. So
sorry.
Because
Spoiler alert! Come on. What did you say? This was only 1990. Some of us haven't caught up yet.
Some of you are still thinking about your diapers. Okay. So what happened was we launched the Space Telescope out of the shuttle. So it's in the slightly elliptical orbit between 360 and 380 miles elliptical round around the Earth. That's how high it is. And it's slowly degrading because the last time it was given a boost was in 2009 with the service, but it's slowly coming down now. Now, It weighs 24,500 pounds. So just think of how much your car weighs and double it and triple it and quadruple it, and you might be there. And just like Hubble's original telescope, this is a 2.4 meter telescope in space. So it's really big. It was supposed to peer into the depths of the universe. Well, so it launched in April. I believe in June or July of 1990, they went, guys, we can't see anything. Something's wrong. So they determined that the mirror that was the big 2.4 meter dish was manufactured incorrectly and it couldn't see. So it needed glasses. And that's what the first service mission went up to try to correct. It put corrective lenses in, so to speak, and corrected its ability to see into space. So it's a phenomenal story if you want to get into it. And there are books about it. And there's a lot of information that's free just right on NASA.gov website as well. So what has it done? What does it do? It has 6 scientific instruments right now that can view around the visible spectrum. So you have a little bit in the infrared and a little bit on the other side as well. But it has 6 instruments. It had a total of 12 on it in the past because when they went up to service it, they took old instruments off, put new instruments in. So what is really cool about the Hubble Space Telescope is anybody can request time on the telescope. And the time that you get on it is proprietary to you. So if you choose not to share it with the world, you don't have to. But anybody, I don't care if it's a 5-year-old, if they have a good enough proposal, they can get on board. Now, the time that you're going to get if you're not into advanced research is probably just a couple hours out of the year. But still, that's pretty cool if you can get images to you from the Hubble. So that is awesome. All right. So we've all seen images from Hubble, right? And
no, I haven't seen anything ever.
Never.
Right. There is, it's the 25th year. It's been up there for 25 years. So it's taken a lot of great pictures. And if you want to see those, there are, just search for Hubble Space Telescope pictures, whatever. You can search for the term, believe it or not, galactic porn or galaxy porn or whatever, and Hubble images will pop up.
You can also Google Hubbard's junk. It's good. Check it.
So is there like a code name Hubble Hubba? Come on, that was funny.
Hubba. Okay.
Okay, so I have a question for you, SP.
Yeah.
I know that you are in love with the Hubble telescope. Why do you hate it so much?
I don't hate it. Hold on. Time out. I will get to that in a second. You just give me a little bit of rope here, and then I'll hang myself. Okay, so it's been up there for 25 years. It's made some great discoveries, and I'll just run through a few of them, but there have been dozens and dozens of groundbreaking discoveries. First of all, it actually mapped dark energy. It has been in the universe since 9 billion years ago, and they did that through mapping supernova explosions. It actually determined that the universe expansion rates were increasing, and that took place in 2011. There's a lot of studies that came out about that time. And then it actually detailed, remember the Shoemaker-Levy comet in 1994 that crashed into Jupiter? You guys remember that at all?
No.
It actually took images of that impact, which was the first images that we had of a huge asteroid slamming into a body in the solar system. So that was phenomenal stuff. And then also what it did with its wide view telescope sensor, it also narrowed down the age of the universe to 13.7 billion years. And previous to that, it was thought that the universe was around 20 billion years. All right. So Stephen asked the question, why do I hate it so much? I don't hate the Hubble telescope, but there are much better instruments that are in space to do phenomenal science than the Hubble. The Hubble is just the flagship. The Hubble is like the Enterprise, right, of the fleet. It's just out there saying, hey, guys, we're in space and we're really cool because we have this cool telescope. The cool observations that happen are not in the visible wavelengths anymore. They're in other wavelengths. So we will get into those telescopes telescopes as we progress. And also, don't forget the James Webb Space Observatory, which is supposed to replace the Hubble, basically. It won't be visible, but it'll be near visible, is scheduled to launch in 2018. So we will get to the James H. Webb telescope in a few weeks.
James H. Webb, he was the director of that Spider-Man reboot, right?
You wish. You have Webb on the brain, Stephen.
Okay, fine. I've been waiting. This has been like 50 episodes coming to find out why you hated the Hubble so much, and I feel like you have a slightly okay answer for that. I was hoping it was just like, I went to school with the guy that helped on it, and I don't like it. He put me in a locker. That's what I was hoping, but
we have diverted so much resources to it, and granted, it's a neat toy to play with, but if you're doing serious science, that money could be used elsewhere. So, and quite frankly, the way the shuttle was at the end of its reign, and to do that last mission expansion time on it for the fifth servicing mission, it was very dangerous for the astronauts to go up at that point in time. They fought to get that extra shuttle mission actually funded, and they did, but the danger to the astronauts at that point in time, the shuttle was not entirely safe anymore, and everybody agreed to that. So the combination of taking money away and the safety of the astronauts that went up, it's not as great of a instrument as you might think it is, but hey, it's done a lot of great things. It's 25 years old.
It's an instrument that was used also. It's a flagship for funds. It's a flagship for funds. For what? I mean, most people don't care about the science. Most people want to see the pictures. That's the problem. It was a propaganda tool.
There are some phenomenal pictures that came out with this. I'll dump a link in the chat, and it's a compilation
and some
of
very, very, very famous ones too. The hand,
yeah, right, and they've done some the Horsehead Nebula. They've done a wide field actual pictures of really hundreds of or thousands of galaxies, but it is phenomenal. So just go to the show notes. I'm sure Stephen will put the link there, and if you're listening live, you can click on the link that I just put in the chat. It is some great stuff. But as we go forward with this SP's Space Symposium segment, we'll be getting into a lot more of the core science of the other telescopes that are up there and determine what's really going on in the universe. So these telescopes say some great things. One thing that the Hubble has helped with that other telescopes have helped with more, though, is far off planet exploration. When the Hubble went up, nobody thought that we'd ever see another planet, and now we are with Kepler, with Hubble, whatever. So it'll be exciting when we actually find a planet out there that we could send a generational ship to see.
Yeah.
Did they not use the Hubble to observe the comet with Levy 9 crashing into Jupiter as well?
Yeah, I mentioned that in 1994, they actually took pictures of the comet slamming into Jupiter, and the black cloud that disrupted Jupiter's atmosphere. It was phenomenal. It really is still ongoing today, the effects of Hubble, or the effects of the Shoemaker-Levy comet as it smashed into Jupiter.
Awesome. And if you have something that you would like to know about from our resident rocket scientist, you should absolutely give us a call at 567-343-GEEK. That's 567-343-4335, because he's got a whole bunch of different things all planned in his mind on the future of a segment. But, your call and your question maybe might encourage a little bit of a reorder or a shuffle, something like that. So absolutely feel free to reach out to the one and only Stargate Pioneer and tell us whether or not you like the name Stargate's Stargazing better, because that was my pitch.
Or Stargazing with Stargate.
If you want to name the segment, go ahead.
No, I like your name. I like your name.
Call it SNASA.
Yeah, SNASA. All right, well, thank you very much, SP, and I enjoy that, and I can't wait to hear the future of your segment. Alrighty, in this week's Geek Back, we went to the book faces and we asked this question. What were your thoughts on the latest hashtag Batman v Superman trailer? Hashtag Geek Back. Facebook.com/GonnaGeek. We did get one response. We only posted it this morning, so that's my bad. But we did get a response from Michelle Ely, who said, need more Wonder Woman. And I agree. I think the way that they set it up, like, okay, here's the thing, is I think the way that they set it up was they were trying to get it so it was like the big moment. It's like, hey, look, Wonder Woman, surprise! But just the way the trailer ended up working out, it felt you actually wanting, like for me, was left wanting more Wonder Woman on screen. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I think you're gonna have a bad surprise because it's not Superman Batman. It's not the Trinity it's not a Trinity movie. They're just gonna introduce her.
Yeah, but here's the thing. They're jamming so many heroes into this movie. We already know Jason Momoa's Aquaman is in there. You've got Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman. They also pretty much confirmed today in an interview with comicbookmovie.com, The Flash is showing up in Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice.
Yeah, but in the dream sequence.
Okay,
people think he's going to show up in the dream sequence.
I didn't see that part. All I said, you'll be seeing in the future in our films, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, all I saw was he's going to show up, so I hadn't seen the dream sequence piece. But still, that is a lot of superheroes to cram in one movie with minimal background on them. It's all built off the backbone of Man of Steel, which I don't know. I know I have issues with. I know not everyone does, and I'm not going to go back down that path and complain about Man of Steel. I'm just saying I'm not sure I want to build a movie universe and show a bunch of superheroes based off that one flick.
Okay, you know what? You know me. I'm a big fan of Man of Steel. I really enjoyed it. I really liked the modernization. I had a lot of objections when I heard about things at first, like I did when they redid Superman in the New 52. But at the end of the day, after I read about 10 issues of the new Supes in New 52, it was clear to me that it was the direction Superman needed to go for a modern era. I felt the same way about Man of Steel. Here's the thing, though. As much as I really enjoyed that movie, I don't think that it can hold enough to make this jump to this movie where they're bringing all these characters in. I actually thought that the original concept of Batman v Superman was not a bad stepping stone to get to the JLA. However, I think that this all of a sudden throwing all these characters in here might be a concern, because I think with the explosion of the Marvel universe, a lot of the same moviegoers are going to go to this and they're going to be like, oh, I heard Wonder Woman's in here, I heard Aquaman's in here, and then they're going to get there and they're going to realize that these characters are just forced into weird things, i.e. dream sequence, and it's not going to execute to where people are hoping for. And that's my big concern, is that it leaves you wanting a lot more, and so much that it makes you not really want to come back. That's my concern.
I'm okay with the fact they're doing Batman v Superman, bringing in all this stuff. I don't know how well it's going to work. The thing that really kind of irks me is it's all been built up of, oh, you've seen the Dark Knight comic books, you love those, we're stealing these iconic scenes that remind you of the fight of Batman v Superman, and then we're going to give away in the trailer the fact that they're not going to fight for long because Lex Luthor is bringing Doomsday into everything, and Doomsday is going to go and wreck face, so they all have to join up together and set their differences aside. Leave it out. Make it be a surprise. If you want to build up on the hype that this Batman versus Superman, build up towards it. Don't already set it up for me to know, oh, they're only going to fight for a little bit because they got to team up. And then for the love of God, don't do your group Trinity shot, which is awesome, I might add. We have that great shot from the Avengers. The camera spins around with the whole team in a circle. You've got something that powerful for Batman v Superman, and Batman's holding a gun.
Yes,
Batman doesn't use guns.
Batman's holding a gun.
You know why he's holding a gun? Because he's the Black Widow of this movie. That's why.
Do you think it's going to be Doomsday? I know it looks exactly like Doomsday. I get that. But do you think they're going to call him Bizarro, or they're going to call him Doomsday?
Actually, it looks more like the Abomination from the Incredible Hulk movie, but that's neither here nor there. I think he'll end up getting called, he'll say something to the effect of, this is your Doomsday, or something Lex is going to throw out there. Wacky, zany Lex that we saw. He'll have some quip that, oh, this creature is the Doomsday of all of you, or something like that. I don't know. I don't think they'll actually call him that.
Do you think he's going to kill Superman? Do you think they're going to kill Superman?
No, they're not going to kill Superman in the first movie to set up Justice League, because they're already doing a Justice League movie after this. So you waste the guy that iconically killed Superman in the 90s in your team-up movie. I just felt like they could have done something different. That being said, I'm willing to be proven wrong. I've said that before. I had my reservations as with Ben Affleck as Batman. What I've seen in the trailers so far, I greatly enjoy his take on Batman. The little smirk he has when he's talking to Clark Kent looks like something straight out of Batman the Animated Series.
I agree.
They had Batman do the same thing.
With everything that I've seen so far, I have to say, like, my concerns about Affleck are gone. I have very, not fully gone. They're like 90% gone. I think we're seeing a really good take on Batman. I liked Christian Bale's take. However, I have a feeling that Affleck is going to come up more with the sort of Batman that I like. And the other thing that I have to say is, when I watched the trailer, I had a lot of people warn me about it, that the tone was all over the place and that they weren't really sure where the movie's planning to go because there's a couple weird jokes, some odd seriousness. I actually thought that they're sort of trying to put a humorous spin on it was actually a little bit helpful for me, because a lot of what we've seen so far has been so dark. And we've talked about that before, how the DC universe has us concerned because of the dark. I like that there was a couple elements of humor. And if they sprinkle those in there, I might be okay with that. I think it might be a nice contrast to the Marvel universe, which has a lot of that in there. JS's favorite ice cream scene. I think it would be nice to have a bit of a balance between the darkness and the humor. And I'm hoping that's where this leads. Maybe we saw the only couple funny spots. That could very well be. But it has me intrigued a lot more after this trailer.
You mentioned that the trailer was varied in different tones and things like that. I'm okay with that because they broke up some of the tension to try and give you different slants of what might happen, things like that. It's a trailer. It's supposed to tease, but I said this on ATGN on Sunday, and a lot of other movie makers need to do the same. And I can't believe I'm saying this. Go to the J.J. Abrams school of making a trailer, because we've had 3 Star Wars trailers and a bajillion TV spots, and I still have no idea what's going to happen in Star Wars Episode 7. And I feel like from these 3 Batman v Superman trailers, I can kind of see what the 3 arcs of this movie are going to be. And there's not a ton of mystery. I hope there's some great surprise in the final arc that they didn't give away, but it seems to me they're like, oh, we got to put butts in seats. Let's show off the fact that Doomsday's here. Oh, so you can think that Superman's going to die when we all know you're not going to kill Superman in the first team up movie when the next super team movie's coming next. I'm cynical. I fully acknowledge it, guys. I want to be wrong. I want this to be awesome. I think it's great if it's awesome. I just don't think it's shaping up that way so far. So, Zack Snyder, for some reason you listen to our podcast. Number 1, thanks. Number 2, prove me wrong.
And number 3, we got a guest seat for you. I don't care where or what I'm doing. I will make that guest seat open for you. In the chat, we got a lot of chatter going on. Starting back here, we have Suncast saying, I hate Zack Snyder and Henry Cavill. We have Cajun Son say, I loved Henry Cavill in The Man from the Uncle. I was gonna spell it out, but anyways,
it was a great movie.
Then we also had ATGN podcast say we only saw him as Soups for 20 minutes, not enough to make a decision.
We saw him for 20 minutes and then he killed a dude too.
Suncast said Man of Steel was boring. Adam Nelson says wacky zany Lex seemed like an act he put on in the party. He seemed pretty serious in the rest of the trailer. And then Cajun Sean says I'm a DC guy. So lots of variety of opinions, and that is something that I think that's going to be very reflective of the reception of the movie, only because the opinions that I'm seeing through the geek community that I know is that everybody seems to have a different take on what they want out of this movie.
So in context, occasion Sean's comment of being a DC guy. Before that, he'd said he's more excited for Deadpool than Batman v Superman. So that's interesting. Yeah, I'm excited for Deadpool because it looks ridiculous. Now, I don't think it's going to be cinematic Nirvana or anything like that, but I think it'll be a fun popcorn movie.
JS, SP, you guys got anything you want to chime in on this? I know Chris and I dominated the discussion.
Yes.
I'm looking forward to it. It's trailer looked good. There's a lot of weird inconsistencies. I really like the part where when Superman rips off Batman's caul or shawl or whatever you call it, his eye makeup disappears. It's funny to put an error in your trailer.
It's magic.
It's nice to see. I laughed my head off when I saw that. I mean, it looks good. It looks interesting. I liked Man of Steel. I really did. I'm a huge Superman fan. Love the 90s. Loved the long hair Superman after he was resurrected. I'll put that in quotes because he never really died. But I like Superman. He's a great character. I mean, I like the old movies. Obviously, the third movie was a complete train wreck, but Man of Steel is good. Zack Snyder, I really liked. What's the movie he did before Man of Steel? Watchmen. I enjoyed Watchmen. A lot of people didn't. I really liked it, and I really liked what he did with the bringing the adaptation of the comic book to the screen, where he kind of brought it to the I wouldn't say 21st century, because the book was probably the book was written in the 80s, I think, but whatever. I mean, his twists are good. Superman's not supposed to kill, but I think people didn't see the real message behind him doing what he did. Superman doesn't kill. He actually did. So that just shows like where he was in his head. I mean, I think they're going to explain that a little bit more maybe in the follow-up movies or in this movie. I think they're going to explain a lot of things in this movie.
And Batman's not supposed to carry a gun either. So I think that both of those facts
we don't
are
see him
interesting.
shoot, right? We don't see him shoot, so we don't know what the gun is.
That's true.
We don't see him shoot.
Flare gun. That's what it was. Colored gun.
Supposedly from some set photos and some stuff they've had of pictures of the weapons and things that were used on set, they've been doing an exhibit somewhere. It's a grenade launcher is what it looks like from what people are saying.
What does it? Does it launch smoke? Does it like... Depends. And I mean, Batman has used guns in the past. In the animated series, in the old Batman comics, Batman has used guns before. People seem to... The newer Batman doesn't use guns, but Batman has used guns before. Let's just give it time to come out. Let's stop judging a movie before it comes out. And I mean, from what I understand, the whole sequence in the desert is a dream sequence. So that kind of explains a couple of things. Because the first trailer I saw, I wasn't too understanding about the Superman army thing. But I guess if it's a dream sequence and Batman's dreaming it, could make a little bit more sense. So, you know what? I'm gonna wait and see. I've been quite surprised lately with not, like I judged, for example, Guardians of the Galaxy. I thought it was gonna be complete rubbish before I saw it, and then when I saw it, I was quite surprised. It was a good movie.
You weren't the only one, though, right? Like, the Guardians of the Galaxy really was a toss of the dice. It really was.
It was a very nice toss of the dice because it was a good movie. So the backstory or the canon of Batman and Superman is probably going to be changed in this movie, but we're not going to the movie to see a remake of something that was made 150 times. If you want to do that, watch Spider-Man. Like, let's be honest.
For sure.
We're going to the movies to see something new. So show me something new that's going to entertain me and that's not too crazy, then that'll be okay with me.
For sure. SP, you got anything you want to chime in here?
Yeah, a couple real quick things. First of all, it wasn't a mistake in the trailer, by the way. The whole disappearance thing, that was actually Constantine being brought into the movie universe, which is why they had to cancel the TV show, because he was going over to the movie universe and he made it disappear. So that's what happened there. And then also, as far as the universe building, it's a little soon, granted, because Marvel did it with one character movie at a time, but you got to start somewhere, and they just chose a different starting spot. We'll see. I'm not really a modern Batman fan, but, this movie might turn my head. I don't know. I don't even know if I'm going to go see it the opening weekend. We'll see.
Well, on that note, let's go ahead and close up this episode of the GonnaGeek.com podcast. Before we do close, I just want to give a special shout out to a couple of things. Number one, first off, Neil. Neil followed up last week to our question about Star Wars. However, we are out of time, so we will definitely touch on that next week. He did the research talking about the Lucasfilm acquisition. And as SP said, the man's a miracle worker. He's able to pull out the information. So Neil absolutely has given us a bunch of information on that. And we will definitely follow up on that next week. The second thing that I want to very, very much give a shout out to is Unqualified Gamers. If you weren't familiar with it, we teased it this week on the Better Podcasting episode. Unqualified Gamers has indeed decided to have their final episode. They did record it last night, which was Sunday, December 6th. And they will be rebranding in the new year. So you keep an eye out. There is still a way to catch all of the old Unqualified Gamers episodes. My understanding is the RSS feed will continue to change over to the new project. So keep your eyes out for that. It'll be a little bit more of a, should we call it Game Life Balance?
Game Life Balance US.
So congratulations, guys, on your amazing run. And I hope that you start at episode 1 all over so that we can have another episode 100, because when you guys did that last time, that was a ton of fun. SP, you got anything you want to comment on, plug, promote, thank?
Well, talking about episode 100, by the time this podcast comes out, the Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. episode number 100 will be out. So it was fun recording that. There's so much going on in Marvel that we couldn't actually do anything fun and separate. So we just went ahead and just did a normal episode, but it was great. We got some congratulations and really appreciate all of our listeners. So check that out. Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. 100.
Congratulations on that.
Thanks.
Chris, you got anything?
I'll just go with the same old thing I normally say. Go to GonnaGeekNetwork.com. Check out all the other great podcasts that make up part of this network. There's fantastic stuff there, no matter what your tastes are.
And JS, anything you got?
Still enjoying my Nexus 6P, baby.
You didn't break the screen yet?
The screen?
No, I'm actually still sporting a case.
Oh,
my God.
I'm
well
ashamed.
done,
This phone,
sir.
I'm so much in love with this phone that I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna take a chance. I protect this phone more than I protect my penis.
Good. That's awesome. That's great.
Saying something.
Okay, I got nothing. So for episode 124 of the GonnaGeek.com podcast, my name is Stephen John Drew. Congratulations to a glorious run, Unqualified Gamers.
And I'm Stargate Pioneer. Check out Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. Wednesday night, 9 p.m.
I'm Chris Farrell, and I don't protect my phone as well as JS.
Don't forget, kids, don't wear rubber.
On your phone. Bye!
From everyone here at the GonnaGeek.com podcast, thanks for listening. If you like what you heard, please give us a 5-star review on iTunes. We encourage you to send your feedback by email to podcast@GonnaGeek.com. You can find all of our show history at GonnaGeek.com/official podcast. And while you're there, why not head over and check out all of the geeky podcasts on the Gonna Geek Network? The music heard on this show is by Kevin MacLeod of Incompetech.com. Thanks for listening, and we will see you again next week.